Hi, and welcome back to the, for now, last video of this series. I know there are many more things we could implement, actually an infinite amount of things, but we're gonna stop this series right now at generating the course certificate. Maybe in the future, I'm thinking about picking it up again and adding things such as a Stripe checkout and other features, more types of quiz modules, with documents. Yes, but for now, this will be the last video. And the last time we implemented the quiz module, and you may have noticed if you actually work through a whole course now, so let's click here on next, and it's gonna just take for a moment, and we do this question, check answer, and we again click on next. We're gonna get an error that we have an unknown module type. Actually, I created this in a database in the past, but we're gonna redo the steps, because what we're gonna do is add another module of the module finish, which contains all the information that the user needs to create a certificate. So in each finish module, we have a custom HTML template that we're then going to use to allow the user to generate the certificate. Just to inform you, under the hood, the document generation uses an API we created called Windy PDF. It's available at Rapid API, and also within this tutorial, it's completely free. It's something we created basically to create PDF documents with Tailwind CSS and basically very rich PDF documents. And we use this API, or our custom version of this, or it is our custom API. So we use this in our own services, basically anywhere, and we also use it here. I'm later on I'm going to include this link to the Rapid API into the description. As I said, you can use it within the limits of this tutorial completely for free. But yeah, if you want to implement something like this yourself, it's basically just a server that hosts or that with Puppeteer displays the page and then basically prints it and sends you back the PDF. So you have the full power of HTML and Tailwind CSS to create a PDF document. That's for that. Now let's jump in. In our document, or in our project, we need first to install some things. The first thing is we need EJS. If you have not worked with EJS before, EJS is a library that basically allows us templating. So we will create a HTML document or an HTML string which has templates, or in which we can insert the name of the user, the date, or the course name. And also we want the types of the EJS library. So save def add types/EJS. Let's execute this as well. And then we're gonna go into our payload config again. In collections, in course, we have blocks, and we're going to create a new block. And this is gonna be the finish block.ts. The finish block.ts export const finish block of type block. It has a slug of finish. It has labels, singular finish block, plural finish blocks. Immaterial, no, this is irrelevant. Let's delete everything we don't need again. Fields, the only thing we need here is fields. And in fields, we're going to have one single field for now. You can probably extend this however you want or need with the name of template, and this is gonna take our document template. Label certificate template of type code, and it is required true. Admin. Yes, we take the description as actually fitting, but the important thing here is that we set language to HTML. Oops, I jumped around. Where have I been? Finish block HTML. Let's close this. And we created our block. The next thing we need to do is we need to add this to our courses. So in here, in courses, we add the finish block. We save everything, save all, and we added our finish block. If you log into the backend, then I will recommend you to add the finish block into the individual courses. Now let's go to our course. We click on add curriculum, we add the finish block, and that should then look something like this. As you see, I added a template here for the certificate. This template expects a name, a course title, and a date, and you can actually use the same if you just go on the GitHub and go to the media folder, and in the media folder you're going to find template.ejs. You can copy this and paste it into the backend, into the individual finish block. What you could also do here is basically add the curriculum of the course or change anything so the certificate is basically the same, or not the same, is not the same for each course but individual. But for now, this is what we're gonna do. And the next thing is that we're gonna modify our participate button. Let's go to our components. The resume button. In our components, we have the resume button, and what we need to do is to add one to the progress, because all the courses are not going to be one module, or have the modules are going to be one more, but they are not relevant for the course progress. So we're just going to add one to the course progress and solve this problem. So progress equals progress plus 1. That is what we need to do here. And the next step is to create actually the finish module. For that, we go into components, we create a new file, finish module.tsx. In here, we export default function finish module. This finish module expects a participation of type, participation of pipe, participation, IIA, participation. Let's import this from the payload types. We have a const of, we have a use state here of loading, and set loading. Let's remove this white space. Use state, import that, and we just want some basic UI to display, hey, you're done, you can download your certificate. So let's add a div class name equals wfull flex call gap 6, and in here we have an h1 tag that is going to display class name text to XL font bold, congratulations, and then in small you have completed your course, and you can download your button. You can download your course. We are going to reuse the next button here, which is gonna take the loading state, and the text is gonna be download certificate, download certificate, and on click is gonna be a function handle. No, it's gonna be an async function handle download and we close the tag. Now let's go back. We should be able to see, we should be able to see it now. Let's reload the page. We are in the last module. We again are not going to see it because we need to add this as well to the course module. We have case finish and return here the finish module. The finish module just wants a participation. Perfect. Then let's go back. Let's see what happens here now. Let's reload this. And we have the download certificate. This is the last module. We also want to add this to the curriculum module, to the curriculum view. Curriculum. We're basically just going to copy this. Finish and block title. No. This is just going to be certificate because it does not have a block title. This we delete. And we want this to be a flag. HI flag. This should also be green. Has to set it apart. And if we look now, we have certificate, but it's not green yet. Text green. No, it should be green. Why is it not green? What error do we get? Console.error console. Cannot use session that has ended. Let's reload this page. And now it is as expected. We have this download certificate button, but it does not really do anything for now. So the next thing we want to do is to fill in the handler. Let's close this and close this. And we go to the finish block. No, the finish module. Where is it? Finish module. We have the handle download. What we want now, or what we need first, is a custom endpoint that allows us to call the PDF generation API and to create the document with our template. For that, we go to our root app. You see here my route. We are gonna basically hijack this and rename it to print certificate. And the print certificate also has a subfolder where it takes the ID. Basically, it takes here a participation ID, similar to how our course view works. We're gonna move it into that folder, and in here we need actually we need the stuff, except this we can delete. Now in here we have our payload object. We also need to get our user, so let's get the user. Const user equals wait get user. Let's import him. We need to check for the user. If there is no user, we want to return an unauthorized. Let's get the participation ID from the params, so const participation ID equals wait. No, we're actually gonna do it differently. We're gonna have ID. We're gonna have ID participation participation ID, and it awaits the params. Cannot find names params because we need to define it here as well, because what we want is is a next request, and we want params, and they should be of the type params ID string. No, wait, this should also be params should contain ID of the type string. Now it all makes sense. Next, we have now the participation ID, so we can ask Payload to give us the participation object, const participation of type participation, equals wait payload dot find by ID from the collection participation. With the participation ID, we don't override the access, we pass on the user. And in the next case, if we don't have a participation, we return it is not found. If we have the participation, we want to extract the course, so const course of type course equals participation dot course as course. In the next case, we now want to check if our course actually has a finish type, or if it has a module as the last module of the type finish. So we're gonna get const last module equals course dot curriculum, and of this we gonna get course dot curriculum dot length -1. Then we have the last module. Now we check if it is of the type finish. If last module dot block type finish, then, or if it is not type finish, we also return that the course is not finished, and we don't have the course has no certificate. Then we check if the user's progress is actually the last, or if the user has finished the course. So if participation dot progress is not equal to the length -1, we're gonna return course is not finished. Then last, we're gonna check for the template in the module. So if template in last module certificate not found, or in this case template not found. And now we can actually go to create our EJS template. So const HTML, this is the generated string. I'm gonna import EJS, so EJS imported dot render last module dot template. That is correct. In here we pass on the data that we need. So we need a name, which is going to be the user's email, user.email. Then we have a course title, which is the course title. Then we have a date, new date, and then we're gonna take the last modification date of the participant information, because that should in theory be when the user has ended the course. So participation dot updated at, and in here we're gonna take the year numeric, month long, day numeric, and end this. Oh wait, I lost track of the braces. So in here we have these braces, then we need to close it, then we have the template and this. No, wait, let's remove this again. So we're gonna close these. That also closes this. Where does this end? And this. Okay, now we are here. We just get an error from EJS. So for some reason it did not import it. But what we're gonna do, let's do import EJS from EJS, save it, and yes, the error is gone with our rendered template string. Now here you're gonna use, or you're gonna follow the documentation of Rapid API. For our internal users, we have our own endpoint, so we're gonna use this endpoint with a API key, but it's the you basically do the exact same thing. You are going to call the Rapid API, give it its API key, and then you pass on the same parameters as we do here. So we have const PDF response equals wait axios. Let's import it dot post, and post expects. No, wait. I did it previously different. So post expects method post. Nope. Method post. This one's an URL, and their URL is not this URL. It is actually https rapid api.windypdf.com.convert. For you, this URL is going to be different because it's just going to be a rapid API URL. Then we have data. The data is for the API to generate the document. So want landscape to be true, false. Then we want the HTML to be our HTML. The format is going to be the A4 format, but it supports all kinds of formats, and it uses Tailwind. Tailwind true. Now in the headers, I'm going to add our API key, comma, headers. The content type is going to be, yes, JSON, and it's going to have an API secret, which I already added to my environment variables. Windy PDF API key. There's no. Why do I get an error here? Find name Axios. It was not imported. And we want the response type is supposed to be stream. Okay, now the next thing what we want to do is to convert the stream into a buffer. Const buffer. For this, we're gonna use a custom function, a wait stream to buffer and the PDF response data. We did not write the function yet. We're gonna do that shortly. Now let's get up here. We have function stream to buffer. This takes a stream, which is a Node.js readable stream, which is correct, and it returns a promise buffer. Now we're gonna create const chunks buffer equals buffer. Then we create a new promise, and this basically this is already correct. No, this is nearly on error. No, this is correct. So we're gonna have data, and it's gonna push the chunks from the buffer into this array. Then we have on error, which then rejects this, and we have on and, which resolves the promise with buffer.concat chunk. I misspelled it. Chunks. So let's correct this really quick. And that is our, let's remove this as well. This is our stream to buffer function. Down here, we're nearly done with our function. Down here, we now have the buffer. We're going to return the buffer in a new response with a status of 200, with the headers of application PDF, with a file name, with, that is basically okay. That is all what we need for now. And we're going to close it. Now, one thing we should also do is enclose this into a try. Yes, I know you should have more individual error handling, but I'm sure you can implement that on your own. So we're just gonna catch everything if something happens. Oops. Catch the error. And if some error occurs here, we have an error status of 500. We're gonna format the document really quick, and our custom endpoint to generate the documents should be ready. Now, with our custom endpoint, we can complete the handle print function in our finish module. So in finish module, here we have now the chance to set loading to true. We're gonna try. Let's just catch it first error, and if everything worked out on finally we can set loading to false. Let's format this a little bit nicer. In here we now get the course. Course equals participant as course. Then from our own API we're gonna get let response equals await dot get. No, we need the template string here. Print certificate, and then we need the participation ID, but it has no underscore. And await Axios. That's why it looks weird. Of course, import Axios as well. Of course, we need to import the course type as well. And here we additionally gonna pass response type blob, and we can handle the response. So what we're now gonna do is create a link in the DOM and click that link to download the button. We're gonna basically do that for the user, and then automatically the download of their certificate starts. So URL equals window.url.create object URL with response.data. Then we create a link. That is correct. We set the link.href to URL. We set the link attribute to download. We set the course here, and the name of the file we added to the body. We click the link, and that should in theory be it. Now let's save everything. Save. Let's restart our server and go here. I think it wants us to log in again. Wait a second, I just noticed we have here customer.name. This is of course not customer.name because we don't save a name. Of course, I leave it to you to also ask for a name when the user sets up its account, but we're just gonna name it certificate. Certificate, and then course title. Furthermore, let's log in. We resume our course, and if everything worked now, we can download our certificate. Wow, we get an error. Let me see what happens. Okay, so the error we got is because we forgot to close these braces in our route. Let's close this and save it and restart the server and hope it works now. The course reloaded. Let's click download certificate. Let's see what happens. It's probably gonna take a second because, there it is. Let's look at the document, and we have our course completion certificate. Now, this is also the completion of this series for now. As I said, maybe I'm gonna pick it up into the future. Also, if you have specific wishes, what we might add or continue this series on, I think I will collect them and maybe revisit this in a few weeks. Okay, that's all. Have a nice day and see you.